If it's not obvious, I'm currently on a Plants vs Zombies fan game spree. PVZ Garden List, PVZ Touhou-packed, and Mis Amigos being the 3 that I've talked about so far. They're all different in many ways, and I mean many, but there's one that's pretty divergent from the others, at least compared to their Touhou-packed and Garden List. Minecraft vs Zombies 2. A Chinese fan game created by Querzer, it involves a tower defense game with Minecraft contraptions in favor of plants, and Minecraft zombies and other mobs in favor of the usual Plants vs zombies. There's 2 versions of the game, one made with Game Maker Studio 2 up until the 4th chapter. Yes, the game is run by chapters, it's kinda awesome how they handle the story honestly, whereas the current version is now made in Unity, the same engine they used in Replanted. Obviously you viewers notice that it's a sequel. Why am I covering the sequel rather than the first game? Well, the first one, Minecraft BA vs Zombies, is just the first Plants vs Zombies but reskinned with Minecraft blocks. At least that's what the page says. I can't find any gameplay or anything. The game is completely extinct. But the second game is completely different, and you're gonna see. Starting off the game, we meet Crazy Dave, who's a villager in white clothes now.
Dr. Trayaurus, what are you doing?
Welcoming us back. Probably referencing the first game or something, I wouldn't know. Here are the plants that we're introduced to. They're pretty simple for now. The dispenser is pea shooter, the furnace is sunflower, obsidian is walnut, and a mine TNT is potato mine. There's no more sun anymore. It's redstone, where you buy contraptions. It doesn't fall from the sky either. There's a machine that produces redstone now. After the prologue, which is honestly just normal Plants vs Zombies gameplay, we unlock a treasure map, which is when things get different. It leads to a portal that leads us to a world the villager has supposedly been telling us about. A world called Gensokyo with humans and yokai. In Japanese folklore, yokai are a class of supernatural entities and spirits, like ghosts, shapeshifters, demons, etc. Is this a Touhou reference, or am I crazy? We enter a new dimension, and the villager is clearly very confused. It isn't Gensokyo. We go straight into a nighttime world called Halloween. Since it's in the middle of the night, the machines don't have any solar energy, so they cannot produce redstone. So we have to rely on the furnaces for now. We unlock the small dispenser after Halloween day 1, pretty much a puff shroom. The first day is just a usual PVZ level, though things get strange. While the villager is talking about the small dispenser, suddenly we see a witch. It's not a Minecraft one or anything, it's literally a witch in a completely different art style, who asks us for help on handling zombies. I don't know why he didn't use a Minecraft witch, but oh well. I'm assuming because they want to stay consistent when it comes to the Touhou references. On the second day, we're introduced to the Star Shard. It's plant food for the contraptions, as well as these weird looking statues called gargoyles. They work like graves, specifically the PVZ2 ones because the plants are able to attack them. If you don't destroy them by the last wave, or any wave at all really, they'll come to life. They're pretty high health wise, so you really should destroy them as soon as you can. The small dispensers help with that completely in the beginning. After we beat the level, you unlock the Moonlight Sensor. It's just a sunshroom substitute. We find out what the witch's name is. Aura, a soul sorceress. Supposedly, she's waiting for some people to arrive, though she refuses to tell us who. That's very odd. On day 3, we unlock the glowstone. It's the lantern of this game, but like the villager points out, there's no fog. So what's the use? Turns out, the glowstone is meant for ghosts. If a ghost isn't near a glowstone's golden aura, it cannot be hit or touched at all. Aura lost her almanac, and it seems like the zombies have it, so we have to retrieve it back for her, which leads to day 4, where we unlock the Punch-Ton after. An original contraption this time, it can knock monsters back a long distance, as well as heavily damaged stones like the gargoyles or other objects too. Oron explains that the world we're stuck in is stuck on Halloween's Eve. That kinda sucks. Halloween's Eve is boring. It's not even Christmas Eve. Halloween's Eve. Wow. We finally get the almanac that Oron lost, and Oron lets us keep it. How nice of her. Even though I do dislike how much she stands out like a sore thumb, you have the villager, who's clearly a very Minecraft art style character, and then a very random art style. It kind of clashes together and I don't like it. Turns out she has a magical key that can open a portal to the dream world, which connects to other worlds. The dream world is from the Touhou project. It's normally accessed via dreams, where the dreamer exists as their quote dream self. Oron lost his key. She really has to stop losing things. Turns out it was taken by a monster. I don't know if it's a zombie or something else, but now we have to get it. 2-6 is a Banka zombie level but with ghosts. You can't see them in the rain unless thunder strikes. There's also these random ghosts that if you bonk, they'll get angry at you and you won't be able to bonk anything for a second or two. They're another example of a clash of art styles. These ghosts obviously don't fit the Minecraft style at all, which is really strange. After though, we unlock the TNT, the cherry bomb of the game. Though, it works differently. You need to trigger it. When you place a TNT down, it will not light up on its own. You have to click the gear on the top left and activate it, but you can make it instantly explode by combining the gear with the seed packet. We learned that the monster wasn't just a zombie like I said. It's the Frankenstein's monster that took Auron's magical key. The almanac, interestingly enough, to move on to another topic, can carry additional effects through battle. What I mean is the almanac can grant plus 25 energy at the start of the battle for every 2 enemy types present, whatever that means. This is a mechanic I didn't understand at first, but I will elaborate more when we unlock the second one later. After day 7, we unlock the Soul Furnace, another pretty original plant. Well, contraption. It shoots deadly soul fireballs and burns groups of enemies on hit, but the contraption in front of it needs to be sacrificed in order for it to work. I like the mechanics on some of these plants, but it gets way more interesting later on. Trust me. Even though this plant is interesting, I don't really see myself using it. I mentioned this in my PVZ Beautiful Town tier list, but plants that often require a sacrifice or have a chance in causing consequences in my lawn aren't plants I would use. So I don't see myself using the Soul Furnace consistently as a contraption. Day 8 is like every other day, so we unlock the perfect and elegant dispenser, the villager calls it, called the Sylvancer. It shoots out knives, slicing through and dealing great damage. It's not like the usual dispenser though. It can pierce through anything that aren't statues, like the cactus plant for zombies too. Now this is a contraption I will be using a lot compared to the Surf Furnace. Piercing plants are incredibly useful in general. Although it does stop when it hits a gargoyle, it's still great for handling an overwhelming amount of zombies. Auron warns us on day 9. Supposedly, dead necromancers were buried beneath the graveyard. Something I like about this game is how creative they get with the enemies. They're not just zombies and zombies with armor, but ghosts, gargoyles, and now necromancers. The necromancers are really easy to handle in my opinion. They can just build temporary walls to block projectiles, but they're pretty easy to destroy, or at least it feels that way. I think the Sylvancer just handles them really easily. After the level, I unlock a very patriotic looking contraption. The villager then asked me if I remembered the clown fairy from hell. I didn't know what he meant at first, but he's referencing Clown Piece from the Touhou project. A hell fairy. I think the creator is a fan of Touhou, guys. This American looking item is called a magic chest. Its design is based off this character that I mentioned before. It can swallow a monster in front of it, similar to a chomper, but it then turns itself into a star shard. Don't think I would use it though. 200 sun? Not worth it, unfortunately. Sorry, magic chest. I honestly forgot to mention the mummy, even though he's really interesting. Whoops. When these mummies die, they release a lot of gas, which heals whatever creatures around it, as well as damaging contraption. So far, apart from the gargoyle, it's my favorite monster in terms of mechanics. On day 11, we finally have the boss. The villager tells us to look out for whatever Sugiri Shuri the boss can do. What the heck is Sugiri Shuri? Day 11 works like a usual conveyor boss, but just like the past fan games, it's clear by now that it won't just be a conveyor level. Trust me, a zombie comes on screen that for some reason doesn't die. It will immediately turn into Frankenstein, who stole the magical key. The boss is really fun. When a boss is so intense that you stop everything you were doing in the background, is how you know that the level is a good level. I will say that he doesn't do that much in terms of mechanics. What makes the boss so vigorous is how contraptions break easier than before, and there are way more zombies and monsters that spawn in. There's 2 stages of the boss. When it dies, it becomes a skeleton. The TNT in the Sylvancer carry this level completely. The Sylvancer will carry period. I love the Sylvancer. Once defeated, we finally get that dream key. As promised, now Auron can teleport us to Gensokyo. But we first need to enter the dream world. In order to really enter Gensokyo, we have to look for a way to quote, access the reality world. Visually, the dream world is pretty different from the Halloween world. It's clearly more vibrant, saturated, and most of all, there's a pool-like area now, rather than the nighttime area. The villager warns us about the world being Doremi's territory. This is most definitely another Touhou reference, referencing Doremi's suite, the Dream World Guardian. He then warns us about Bakus, which are Japanese supernatural beings that are known to devour dreams and nightmares. I love the implementation of Japanese mythology and the Touhou project. I still don't know what it's doing in a fan game centered about his Minecraft Plants vs Zombies fan game. It is a little random, and I still have a slight issue with the contrasting art styles, but I don't think the game is meant to be taken seriously. What matters is that I'm having fun gameplay wise, the contraptions are interesting, and so far, I love the storyline and the world building period. That's all that matters. The first level is finally when I learn how to use artifacts. When you're selecting your contraptions, you can see in the right side that there's a box where you can select them. The dream key can be used as an artifact as well, like the almanac. When used, contraptions will restore odd toughness and become invincible. We get the lily pad, I love the lily pad, all hell lily pad, and we finally meet another person. Of course, in the same art style as Oran. The villager still stands out completely, it's so funny. This mysterious person is heading for the lunar capital, which is an ancient metropolis established on the moon. The dream world has been taken over by blocky bugs, making the environment unstable, which is where we're introduced to spiders. But after day 2, we unlock the Drivenser. It shoots arrows at enemies, but you can place Drivensers on another to increase the number of arrows it will shoot. Think of Peapod from Plants vs Zombies 2. We learn that this mysterious person's name is Doremi, the character referenced in the beginning. Supposedly, she says that someone dreamt of us, a figure that looked the same as us. The villager teases us, and for the first time we actually talk, weirdly enough. Doremi gives us an artifact, the Sweet Sleep Pillow, which can restore 10 toughness per second. I forgot to mention it, but for some reason, in the final wave of these levels, the lawn goes dark, requiring you to use a glowstone. Though I don't really see the point, and it's only dim for just a few seconds anyway. The next contraption is definitely a little different from the others. It's a gravity pad, which increases the gravity of objects above it. It can slow down creatures, but also pull down projectiles that'll reach low-height monsters like cave spiders. They're tiny, so they cannot be hit by usual attacks. We then unlock the Vortex Hopper. It's an underwater contraption that works exactly like the Tango Cup. There's obviously hints to something as Doremi speaks about Steve's dreams again. I do believe this is correlated to someone seeing Steve in their dreams. Could it be Herobrine? I remember generally believing Herobrine was real. In fact, in its exact same channel in the old days, I had a video where I tried to find him. Obviously it's private forever, but it's a fun little fact. After the 5th day, we unlock an ender chest, where we can finally use our gems in store. Apart from that though, we finally ask Doremi what's up with the lawn going dark, and she panics, talking about something like normal, then leaving. That's really strange, right? Day 6 is different. We play Breakout. This is actually pretty fun. I've mentioned it a lot before, but I always enjoy when PVZ games take a break from the usual formula for a minigame, like Walnut Bowling, and now Breakout, where you pretty much play ping pong with the zombies, killing them with pearls. Afterwards, we unlock the Pistoncer, which is quite an interesting contraption. It works exactly like a dispenser, but its spikes can stretch to attack flying monsters, aka the gas, which cannot be attacked by anything but the Pistoncers. They also shoot fireballs, which is incredibly annoying when you have a perfect symmetrical lane and it's immediately demolished by the ghast. Doremi continues to freak out and tells us to leave. But why? Well, the world suddenly goes dark, and when it fades in again, we encounter a disturbing sight. The dream world is covered in blood now. The sea is red, and there's this weird, moon-shaped, gaping creature behind the grass now. Now it makes sense why the game asked me if I wanted blood or gore in the settings. The level design is completely changed up as well. With a red sky, very creepy looking flowers, the sun is now crying blood, and the pool is now filled with scars and blood. How lovely. Apart from that, we unlock the Totenser, which shoots darts that weaken monsters, preventing them from dealing damage. It can also use fire breath to burn enemies nearby and deal deadly poison. I love using this contraption. He's very useful, and I love his design and how it's multifunctional. Doremi is now blind, possibly from a curse, but she mentioned seeing a black horse before she did. Correct me if I'm wrong, I first thought this black horse was part of either Japanese mythology or the Touhou project in some way, but it seems to be its own character. It's a monster, and it's associated with whatever corruption has taken over the dream world, and what made Doremi blind in the first place, named Nightmare. No Herobrine, I guess. Day 8 is a little longer than the others, which I enjoyed. I never liked when games like Plants vs Zombies 2 had purely short levels, and really easy ones too. There was never really a balance when it comes to the game, and some other games as well. It's either way too overwhelming level design wise, or way too simple on short pace. There was no in between. We did unlock the Dream Crystal. It's like the infinite that can regenerate itself, but also heal others as well. Steve is very stubborn in saving Doremi, wanting to face the demon. I was really looking forward to seeing how this creature in particular will look. Our next creature stands out compared to the other mobs. The other creatures are obviously Minecraft monsters, but this one is very weird. It's this white spider with an unnerving smiley face and a pulsing abdomen. Ill. When it's killed, it'll drop a singular tinier version, which is incredibly easy to kill. We unlock a plant that, to be honest, it sucks. It's a string that we place on a contraption and it'll fall asleep. After some time, when the contraption wakes up again, it'll release a star shard. I don't really see why anyone would use this. You don't really need a star shard enough to make a contraption fall asleep. I guess you could maybe put it on a furnace or something, or a plant you're not really using on the lawn, but if it's on the lawn, it's there on purpose. Who knows? I just don't like this plant. Steve continues to worry about Doremi. They haven't seen her, and he clearly cares about her a lot. Who knows why? They really haven't interacted that much, though I don't expect much dialogue in a Plants vs Zombies fan game. And I don't think the reason why he cares so much is because he knows her or anything. The game makes it very clear that he's in a way heroic and willing to do whatever it takes, like killing the demon. The last level of the chapter starts off as a conveyor level, but we know from the last one that this won't be the only thing that will happen. We're about to find out what the nightmare is, and it's not what you think at all. A bunch of eyes open up from the lawn and it's Slenderman? Yeah, Slenderman. Why? I don't know actually. It was really random. I bursted out laughing when he first came in as I expected anything but him. I really shouldn't be surprised anymore though. This game is so random. Slenderman teleports around the lawn at first before giving us 3 fates to choose: Come True, Pandora's Box, and Insanity. I obviously wasn't sure which one to pick, but I chose Come True. Everything seemed fine after I chose that, but not even a minute later, I got hit with 3 options once more. I chose the Lurker, which demolished a bunch of my plants. I'm not gonna choose that again. The pattern repeated with the Lurker, Biohazard, and Insanity. I chose Biohazard. Obviously these options gave some sort of consequences to my lawn, whether switching out my plants in the conveyor level or summoning a bunch of zombies. I did kill Slenderman thankfully, but that was not the end of it. The screen cracked and another creature came in. This was a nightmare. Very weird looking and bug-like. In this boss, spikes appeared from the ends of my screen that you had to click to prevent them from closing. It was really difficult honestly, and I thought I had it after the time ended, but I still died. I wasn't sure why, but I realized why later. I had to start over. Yeah, that entire thing. I was obviously very frustrated, and the second time was not any better. I died by a freaking ghast. Finally, I won for the 3rd time, and I learned a lot when playing. Star shards in this level are very essential, so the string was actually useful in this boss. I used them on vortex hoppers that were protected by the Dream Crystal. They were only on my lawn just for supplying star shards. For the Slenderman boss, I only picked what I thought was the best options out of the ones given. Come True and Lurker, as the others either destroy most of your contraptions or worse. Come True and Lurker are obviously still consequential, but they're better than the other one. By the second boss, you need to overwhelm your lawn contraptions before it starts. For me, I just spammed my cursor on the spikes and completely ignored everything else in my lawn. Turns out, you have to kill this creature before the timer runs out, which is why I died the first time. I completely misunderstood the timer. I won. Doremi has her vision back, and she's not dead, which is nice. She mentions our dream again, and the grave we saw as a baby. We learned that we're not blocky, but aren't we Steve? He is a blocky person, isn't he? Whatever. So Steve is an orphan in this game, raised by Dave the villager. This is related to the dream we had, but we can't remember or see what Doremi means. For now at least. And lastly, she gives us a new artifact. The Dream World's Butterfly. We finally reached Gensokyo. Crazy Dave wants to visit Korendo. In the Touhou project, Korendo is an antique store, which is a store we unlock in the game, run by a girl named Tokiko. we learn that the original owner, Renosuke Morichika, another character from the Touhou project of course, went missing by the hands of Minecraft zombies. What a shame. To start this third plotline, we receive a letter from the Shining Needle Castle, requesting our aid. And that's where we go. Chapter 3 is actually the first chapter in quite a while, believe it or not. Minecraft vs. Zombies has been running for a whopping 10 years, which is kinda crazy. After 3 years, this chapter finally came out. As you viewers should know by now, this game is full of Touhou references. I think it has more Touhou references than Minecraft ones at this point. The Shining Needle Castle is a castle that's located in the sky, home of Shimyumaru Sukuna, whoever that is. If you don't remember, artifacts are items that assist you through battle. Right now I have 7 artifacts. We just unlocked the Dream Butterfly in our last world thanks to Doremi, where contraptions are invincible for 3 seconds after being built, which I have on at the moment. I also have the Creature's Heart that we unlocked from killing Frankenstein, which attracts 5 contraption costs for each same contraption on the battlefield, which is pretty effective. And lastly, a Sweet Slip Pillow, which Doremi gave us as well, which restores 10 toughness per second. The castle takes place at nighttime, so we're sticking to small dispensers again. But this world is a little different from the other 2 chapters. There's a curve, similar to the roof levels, though the biggest difference is, in the waves, the entire screen goes upside down. The reason why it does this is because in the Touhou project, the castle went upside down due to consequences of a magical and taboo wish, causing the castle to flip, which is what happens here. It's not that annoying, as thankfully by the waves I already have all the contraptions I need, at least sometimes. I then unlock the wooden dropper, which rolls balls down the lawn. It's a really silly and fun plant. I'm surprised there's no wooden droppers in the real Minecraft now that I think about it. Supposedly, Steve and Crazy Dave are there to find Shimimaru. The screen then blinds me with holy light, and we're introduced to Saija Kijin, who's a major antagonist of the Touhou project franchise. She has the power to turn things upside down. I wonder if there's a correlation with what happens in the waves. We're then introduced to a withered skeleton with a crown, the Mesmerizer, which is a very interesting and pretty important enemy. It can mind control your contraptions to turn against you, and the only way to make them stop is to kill it, or use glowstone around the contraptions, making glowstone a pretty useful contraption finally. After day 2, we unlock the spike block. It's pretty much the spike weed of the game, hurting what enemies are on top of it. Crazy Dave and Steve then encounter a little girl that came out of a small jar, and it's Shinmimaru Sukuna herself, the princess of the Inchlings. Inchlings are a species of tiny people in Japanese folklore. Turns out she's the one that sent the letter speaking about the withered skeletons invading the castle for a year now, and now we're here to save them. After day 3, we unlock the stone dropper, which spits out spot stones. It's a little bit of an upgrade compared to the wooden dropper, but sometimes it will shoot out a boulder that can push enemies back. Then, Shimimaru spits out some lore, supposedly an Amanujaku fed her false history that led her to causing massive trouble to Kenzokyo. An Amanujaku is a small, demon-like creature in Japanese folklore that's known for inciting dark desires. They pretty much work against human desires and are meant to provoke bad deeds, urging others to perform evil acts. Saija Kijin is a said Amanujaku. In Touhou lore, she tricked Sukuna into believing that the Inchlings were oppressed by others for many generations, which led to her fighting to bring glory and honor. Supposedly, Saija Kijin is still friends with Sukuna, which is odd. Wasn't she tricked by her? Whatever. Then, we're introduced to the Berserker on day 4. The Berserker is a genuine pain in the butt. I had to restart a few times because of it. But the Dream Crystal comes clutch, blocking the explosion from occurring. We didn't need the Dream Crystal that much because then we unlocked the Stone Shield. It's literally just a pumpkin, but it's really effective for the Berserker in favor of using an extra lane for defense. Sukuna then gives us backstory. 3 years ago, an explosion occurred that brought the Minecraft monsters. What could this mean? Day 5 was a usual level, and after we unlocked the Diamond Spike. It's a spike rock to the spike weed, it's an upgrade. We figure out that Saija Kijin might be hypnotized by a mesmerizer, which forces her to be evil. But wasn't she evil before? She was the one that tricked Sukuna after all. Could I be confused? If there's something I miss, please put it in the comments below. What I like most about this fan game is the ongoing story it has. The storyline is consistent, and like I said in the first part, I like the implementation of the Touhou elements in Japanese folklore, even if it can be considered random. Yes, the YouTube title of my first part could kill somebody purely by reading it. There's a minigame for day 6, which is refreshing. Purely playing the same levels over and over again gets old at some point. so it's nice to have a break. It's not like the levels are boring though. The level design is a nice balance. It doesn't get too overwhelming, but there's some sort of difficulty as well, like Day 4 or Chapter 2's boss. It's not too easy, and it's not too hard either. The Day 6 minigame involves little enemies with a selection of contraptions to use in your conveyor, wooden dropper, obsidian, and a lot of TNTs. Afterwards, we unlock a golden apple. I thought it was meant for healing, but it's actually not. It was honestly one of the more weirder concepts for a contraption. When you think of a golden apple, you think of its healing or regeneration powers. So I thought it would work as a healing plant. Maybe someone like a loaf from Plants vs Zombies too, but it doesn't work that way at all. I don't know. It's weird. It's literally a hypnotrope. On Day 7, we introduced my favorite enemy yet, the Dalahan. Although the Lahan is technically a reference to the skeletons on skeleton horses, the Lahan is a mythological creature of Irish folklore. I could be mispronouncing it. It really supports my point that this game is really effective when it comes to adding folklore and characters that really stand out from one another. He's a headless rider on a black horse, who carries his own head, and this enemy is exactly that, but as a wither skeleton. He can jump over contraptions similar to a pole vaulting zombie, but once it's dead, it will leave its head, forming 3 individual monsters. I love this enemy's concept. Day 7 isn't like the other days though. The beginning of the level is typical. My guard is down, I don't expect anything, but I didn't get any contraption or anything after beating it, which I thought was strange. Well, Seijai Kajin is back, and we find out she really is hypnotized by the mesmerizer. I'm just sitting back reading the dialogue when suddenly, we're put into a battle with this said hypnotized Seijai Kajin, which is completely unexpected. I had to send in lawnmowers as the lawn was overwhelmed with mesmerizers and the lahans, as well as bullets spinning through the area. I lost 3 mowers, I really didn't expect it. Though, the battle didn't last too long. She died fairly quickly after 2 to 3 minutes. A mesmerizer fell from the ceiling afterwards, which is kind of funny. But the reason it was up on the ceiling in the first place because it was taking advantage of Seijai's ability to hide up there. Now, we must wait for her to wake up. We unlock the thunder drum. When the thunder drum is triggered, it will knock all enemies into the air, knocking them back and changing their lanes. It will then need some time to repair. I like it personally. It's like a better version of Spring Bean's plant food. The thing is, apart from the magic chest, gravity pad, and the spike block, it's one of the only contraptions that aren't Minecraft based, which I thought was odd. Saija then wakes up and there's drama! Saija finally calls out what I've been thinking for so long. Saija did manipulate Sukuna and she was kinda acting like they were friends. But Sukuna finally tells her to leave, but before she does, she tells us about the Wither, who obviously leads the Wither skeletons. Does this mean we're going to fight the Wither for this chapter's boss? I hope so. It would be nice to fight an actual Minecraft boss in a game called Minecraft vs Zombies 2, not Slenderman. Still love that boss though, jokes aside. Day 8, I had more slots on because of the shop, so I had a lot of variation of contraptions than before. Afterwards, I unlocked another contraption that isn't Minecraft related at all. The Tesla coil. It electrocutes whatever enemies are surrounding it. Simple plant. You won't catch me using it compared to plants like the stone dropper or the silver insert though. Not until the end. The lore continues. We finally freed the Anchlings from the jars, but naturally so, they blame Sukuna. One straight up asks what she's really done for them, which is kinda crazy, and she dips. Sometimes I think the game's lore is actually more interesting than the gameplay itself, funny enough. I love the gameplay. The tower defense formula will never get old for me, but I like that there's a hidden story to it. Day 9 then hits me with an overwhelming amount of monsters. Gas, mesmerizers, berserkers, and a new one, the Hell Chariot. It will crush all contraptions on its path, but once it dies, it will release a coffin, awakening a newbie sand, a mummy, which is who killed me the first time as I had no idea how to kill him. He sent in a lot of soul sand that acted as barriers. The next time, I was smart enough to bring piston sensors for the gas, and the spike blocks for the Hell Chariot. Then I unlock the Giant Bowl. I don't know what the pattern is of contractions that are unrelated to Minecraft at all. When you store star shards in it, it'll slowly generate more. It's not a bad plant, but similar to the string from the second chapter, I don't really depend on star shards enough to use my redstone or a slot on it. Thankfully, Sukuna comes back and introduces the Miracle Mullet that's a cursed treasure that the Anchlings have. It's capable of granting any wish, but it demands an equal price. In the Touhou project, the Miracle Mallet also has the power to change an object's size, though she asked for one request to defeat the Wither. Believe it or not, unlike the other chapters, Day 10 is not the final boss. It's the usual level. I lost one lawnmower because of that damn floating on Ubi sand. I still struggle to take care of them. The Wither Skeletons then literally declared war on us through a scroll. Who knew they could write? That's pretty neat. Starting off this boss, it starts off as the usual conveyor level like the other bosses. They give you all the contraptions you collected. The conveyor is pretty fast too, so you're overwhelmed with contraptions. Afterwards, the Wither is built, just like in Minecraft, and here it is. It obviously looks a little different than in Minecraft. Its face is more evil looking, probably to make it more intimidating. The best contraptions to use on it are the stone pumpkins and the golden apples, as it's vulnerable against it and it's able to fall under the golden apple spell temporarily, which is why I saved them. But here's the problem. The game does a very bad job in explaining how to kill the Wither. The Wither at first when I played took no damage to the entire boss, and I sat there like an idiot not knowing what to do. I died, then I died again. The game just fails to explain what to do, and it sucks. It's frustrating. I honestly had to go to a YouTube video to know how to beat him. I had to mimic a strategy I saw on YouTube, and thankfully that worked. You have to really depend on those stone pumpkins, as the Wither will run towards your lawn and demolish most of your contraptions if not. It has two phases. Its first phase, it can only be attacked by projectiles, and its second phase, only contraptions like the Tesla coil can damage it. To add on to what I was saying, the game does not explain this to us. The Wither is practically impossible on harder difficulties if you do not watch a YouTube video. When we beat the boss, Sukuna thanks us with an artifact, an imitation of the miracle mallet. The chapter also ends with a bitter conclusion. In a way, Sukuna still lives in misery. She still blames herself for what happened. I wonder if there will still be a resolution with that. But that's not all. Remember that letter from the dream world? How it was too blurry to know what it says? Well, now that we're not there anymore, we're finally able to read it. But Crazy Dave, for some odd reason, refuses to give it to us. Weird. Then, an unexpected guest appears. A completely different art style from not only the Minecraft characters, but even the Touhou ones as well. Look how different these two girls look from one another. They request aid in the Majoran Temple, leading us to... The Majoran Temple, believe it or not, was previously a ship. It was named the Palanquin ship, used to sail to Makai. Makai is known as the Dream World, though it's separate from Gensokyo, the other Dream World. It's merely a place where demons and strong yokai live. It's pretty interesting that there's two different dream worlds, right? So the girl that brought us to the Majoran Temple is known as Futo, a supporting character and you guessed it, the Touhou Project. She's a Shikaizen, formerly a hermit, which are beings that are endowed with supernatural abilities that are acquired through religious training. We learned this girl's name from another person that also looks different from Futo. Did they use two different artists? I don't know. There's an inconsistency when it comes to the characters. We haven't learned this person's name yet. Day 1 starts and it's clear there's only 4 rows instead of 5. Like how in Plants vs Zombies the Turbios Crater Trail also has only 4 rows. It's also another night world, though this isn't particularly something I enjoy. As this is the second time we've had a nighttime world, it feels like I haven't seen the contraption machine in quite a while. And I haven't used the furnaces at all. It's a basic night, nothing unique about the waves just yet, and we unlocked a jukebox. Finally, a Minecraft block. It shoots musical notes, which bounce back and forth between itself and the enemy, which is kinda cool. And the best part, the closer the enemy is, the more damage and the faster speed it will have. There's some exposition and we learn about Steve. He's not from the Minecraft world, as we learned previously, he's a real human, even though Steve is cubic in Minecraft, but oh well. He also has a prosthetic right arm that he got when he fell into a coma? Did I miss a few pages? This does not happen in the other chapters that I know of. Does this happen in the first game? I don't know. Weird. On day 2, we're introduced to a zombie that can counter the jukebox, which is funny because we just unlocked the contraption. Oh well, it pretty much deflects projectiles, similar to the screen door zombie. We're also presented to something I like, a monster spawner. It works exactly like in Minecraft, though at least for this day, it only spawned in the final wave. Afterwards, we unlock the lightning orb, very similar to the Tesla coil. There goes contraptions that are from Minecraft again. It's quite the interesting contraption. Instead of taking damage, when it's hit by any enemy projectile, it will use that said projectile to heal itself. This mysterious person speaks about a giant that appeared in Gensokyo 2 years ago that was accompanied by another giant as well, causing chaos. They subdued this said giant and sealed it in the Halls of Dreams Great Mausoleum. It lies directly underneath the Majoran Temple. It's meant to hold many spirits, and now the giant as well. It's technically not an actual giant though. It's a group of zombies fused together, which is kind of funny to think about. Can you imagine that? Day 3 finally brings back the skeletons, though afterwards we unlock the split tensor. It's pretty much a split P, which means we're most definitely gonna get an enemy that goes behind the lanes. Afterwards, we meet another character. I wasn't wrong about the anime girls, huh? She's introduced as Saiga, one of Miko's friends. Turns out, that mysterious woman I was speaking to is Miko. I probably missed her name or something in the game because the game treats it like I knew her name already, so I'm just slow, that's my bad. Like Fudo, Saiga's a hermit, but a wicked one. Like can create holes through walls with her hair clip? That's pretty interesting. She's heard that we're here to clear out the zombies. For assistance, quote unquote, she gives us a new artifact, the talismans. It's pretty effective. It can control the zombies and make them fight for you if you killed them. In return, she asks us to use these said talismans to reinforce the barrier. Steve is pretty suspicious about this though, especially because she tells us not to tell anyone. I wonder if we'll have the option to choose whether or not to use a talisman to reinforce it. Especially because Fudo introduces the concept of wicked hermits on day 4 and speaks about how they pass through walls and rule the dead by talismans. Definitely cannot trust Saija, whatever her name is. Day 4 introduces 2 zombies, one of them being the wicked hermit zombie, which is why Fudo mentioned them in the first place. I was right about an enemy that goes behind lanes, and that's what it does. It uses an iron shovel to get behind us, which is the use of split tensors. I expect this contraption to be pretty useless later on. The second zombie is the talisman zombie, which jumps to move and can also heal itself when attacking. Afterwards, we unlock the Devourer. It's a pretty tough looking design, I would say. I like that it actually looks like a Minecraft block, unlike some contraptions. It's meant for the monster spawners. They're the gravebusters of the game, since unlike the gargoyles in the Halloween world, the monster spawners cannot be destroyed by contraptions. It can also recycle placed contraptions back into your selection. For this second mechanic, I don't really see the point in using it for that. I understand it to make the Devourer more than just a monster spawner buster, but I don't see myself ever willingly recycling contraptions. If I place them there, they stay there. Miko, I finally know her name so I don't have to call her the mysterious woman, speaks about 2 smart people that knew a lot about contraptions, and they might be responsible for the emergence of zombies, but we don't know why. Yet. After day 5, we unlock the command block. It's the imitator of the game. The 2 contraptions will have 2 separate recharge timers, which makes it very useful. While resealing the giant again, Steve for some reason takes out the talismans, which isn't very smart. The talismans, on their own, fly toward the giant, somehow causing the seal to break, sticking onto the giant's head. It then fell off, turning into a red zombie? Who knows if the giants escaped or not. Day 6 though is an iZombie level. It's a nice change of pace. Like I said before, I enjoy when there's that level that's unique compared to the others. It has 3 waves and it was pretty easy. After beating this level, we unlock the Hellfire. It's the torchwood of the game. It's my favorite Plants vs Zombies replacement as I thought it was a creative way of incorporating the torchwood. Obviously, fire stays in the netherrack, so it makes sense. So the reason why Saija wanted to trick Steve into releasing the talismans in the first place was because she wanted the giant to herself to experiment on. Why are Miko and Saija friends again? Miko trusts us to handle the giant now. I think we all know what the final boss is. Day 7 introduces the Shikaizen zombie, who's actually really creative. He has a bamboo staff that he plunges down into the ground when it's reaching low health, which creates a totem. This totem will revive all nearby defeated monsters. Day 7 is a typical level, and we unlock quite the interesting looking contraption, the Necro Tombstone. And honestly, it's one of my favorites. It can summon endless armies of skeleton warriors to fight for you. It's very useful, and I will most definitely be using this contraption for quite a long time. Fudo mentions the incident 3 years ago and calls it a murder. On day 8, the ghosts come back. It feels like I haven't seen them in a while, since the Halloween world, believe it or not. It was a longer level, 3 waves, which I enjoyed. I think the best way to create a Plants vs Zombies level is to make it a nice slow paced level. Not a quick rush one, as you're either desperately putting down defense and stunted producing plants, and there's no strategy in having to rush plants in. I know games like Plants vs Zombies 2 or the Plants vs Zombies 3 beta, they have short levels because there's a lot of levels in one world. But personally, I prefer shorter levels, like 10 to 11 rather than 20 plus, that are longer and more memorable. Then many levels, I feel like they're all the same. After beating the 8th day, we unlocked the black hole bomb. It creates a mini black hole that after exploding, sucks in all surrounding monsters. I'm gonna give you a little fun fact. In the game, there are secret artifacts that you unlock, but they are very specific. And the game doesn't really tell you how to unlock, you just have to figure it out yourself. So if you use the black hole bomb star shard power in chapter 2 The Dream World, you unlock the bottled black hole. For every empty blueprint slot, you get plus 10% damage. That means hypothetically, if you leave every slot empty but keep the smog dispenser, since it deals 20 damage normally, you can have a smog dispenser that can deal 100 damage. Let's try to beat the 10th level with only the smog dispenser. Yeah, you can. Now, let's go back in time. Steve questions Crazy Dave for running off to do who knows what, asking if he's hiding something. I definitely think it has something to do with that letter from the Dream World, because he freaked out and refused to show what the letter really said. Day 9 introduces the Emperor Zombie. It uses its holy sword to grant divine shields to nearby enemies, making them immune to the next projectile or damage that hits them. Afterwards, we unlock the Desire Pot. It can duplicate start shards created by monsters in the lawn. It's a meh contraption, honestly. The cost is way too much to be used. 125 is a lot for a packed game like this. Saiga then stumbles across Steve once more and pretty much manipulates him. Supposedly, there's someone that recognizes Steve, that could possibly be a family member of his. Throughout the game, the idea of who Steve's family is and how he's obviously different from the others is brought up a lot throughout the game, probably to lead to this plotline of him being manipulated. Before anything could happen, my Go Miko appears, preventing him from doing anything else. Supposedly, Psycho really doesn't know anything and was using it to purely manipulate Steve. In the Touhou project, this is pretty in character. She doesn't care about anyone, only manipulating them purely for her own ends. Before I started day 10, I decided to get another secret artifact. If you use the Star Shard power on the gravity pad in chapter 3, you unlock the Broken Lantern, which I think is worth it compared to the bottled black hole. It does plus 25% produce speed, attack speed, and times 50% light range for glowing contraptions like the glowstone. These are the only 2 secret artifacts right now, and turns out, you can actually get hints by the location's almanac entries. That's pretty cool, right? Anyway, I finally went through day 10 without just small dispensers this time. It was another long level, which I enjoyed. After I beat this level, I unlocked a scroll that's a declaration of war from the zombies, though in the language of ancient China. It's time for day 11. It's a typical conveyor level, but in the middle wave, the background changes to pitch black, flying colors spinning all over the blackness. But all of a sudden, a large roar occurs, and the giant appears. The giant's mechanics are quite interesting. It will move behind the lane, which is where the split sensors come in handy. I took advantage of the black hole bombs completely. It can go back and forth on lanes by taking itself apart, as well as smashing what contraptions are in front of it. I killed it once and I thought it would move on to its second phase, but it died 4 seconds later. That's odd. For killing this said giant, Miko provides us an artifact, the light bomb. It produces a blinding flash when set off, scorching all creatures on the lawn. Then, Tokiko, the one that owns the shop, calls us through the phone, which is also an artifact by the way. Tokiko urges us to come back to Korindo. There's a bunch of zombies attacking her. We handle the group of zombies and a mysterious person comes in. Oh my god, it's Sound Only, the one and only! I'm just kidding. Some person that knows our name. And they warn us that they don't want to see us ever again. And that ends chapter 4, The Python. Next up, we have the last chapter for now. Chapter 5, The Repeat. I've been enjoying this game so much that the fact that after this there won't be a new chapter for some time is driving me crazy. Oh well. In the shop, we finally discussed that weird prosthetic arm that Steve has, and that it has some sort of lore importance, possibly connected to the unknown person that threatened us. Before Steve fell into his coma, he had remembered that someone had been there. He just doesn't know who. But he believes he might have done something unforgivable to the said person. Is Steve a bad guy? As the usual chapter formula goes, someone's looking for us. Sho Toromaru, another monk from the Majoran Temple. She speaks about an evil red dragon that first appeared in Gensokyo, who wreaked havoc upon its land and people. Byakuren Hijiri, the head priestess of the Majoran Temple, left the temple to subdue this said dragon. We all know this won't end well. We tried to subdue the giant, and look where that got us. She brings up the palanquin ship, which as I stated used to be the Majoran Temple before it became a building. It can still transform into a ship, of course. This ship is managed by Byakuren. Pretty neat. Turns out though, the palanquin ship is under attack by another hostile ship, which is full of zombies. If it's not obvious, we have to help them with these said monsters, leading us to this chapter. Starting off though, we see that the hostile ship is from the end, but the dragon's red? Odd. And it's daytime this time, which is relieving. The layout of this lawn is pretty interesting. 2 columns are normal blocks, but similar to PVZ2's Pirate Seas, the next columns are planks, but some columns are in the air. It's an interesting lawn honestly, and I love it. The first day went as normal until we're introduced to the chapter's first gimmick. Zombies will fly down in the end wave and get close and personal with your contraptions. We did unlock the gunpowder barrel. I like the creativity of it, and hey, it's an actual Minecraft related contraption. It can produce gunpowder, which is meant to be better than redstone, but if you don't pick it up in time, it will blow up. I don't necessarily like contraptions that can be a disadvantage to your lawn, but I have a quick enough reaction time to pick up the gunpowder before it messes my game up. Another problem is that if you shovel it, it will also explode. Day 2 introduces the funniest enemy yet, UFOs. Look how colorful and silly these guys are. Not only are they funny, they're also fascinating. They go by different colors. If they're red, they will release a zombie. If they're green, they will steal a contraption. And if they're blue, they will absorb redstone or gunpowder. And if they're rainbow, they will split into 2 random UFOs. I love that. I had to restart day 2 because a gunpowder barrel exploded and destroyed all my contraptions. Afterwards, we unlocked the Triplenser, the 3-peater of this game. Its star shard power is pretty interesting as well. It will release the Earth, Sun, and Moon? I don't even want to try to power scale the Triplenser. Steve asked about Byakuren, since she's someone with high status. It's possible she knows the whereabouts of where he originated from. So naturally, of course he wants to talk to her. When he asks Sho, she speaks about a captain named Murasa. She's the phantom, or a ghost, of a young girl who drowned and became a yokai, who's now a follower of Byakuren. Turns out, Hijiri created the palanquin ship in order to save Murasa, though the current ship we're in now isn't the same as the other one. The other one is the Majoran Temple. I know I mentioned that it's able to turn into a ship, but it's supposedly inconvenient, so now she has another ship that stays as a ship. I mean, okay I guess. Day 3 is the usual level with some spiders, and we unlock the firework dispenser. When there's any flying enemy above it, it will blast them with fireworks. I love the implementation. I was curious how they would handle the fact that we're in the sky now, and so far, they're pretty creative with it. Yes, the UFOs are pretty random, but what's not random about this game at this point? We meet New Hyuju, a powerful yokai from the Majoran Temple. She's another girl who stands out art style wise from the others. I still don't know why this is the case. You can see on screen that New and Sho that their shading styles are completely different from one another, and they don't really acknowledge this, but it's not really a big deal. New straight up tells us that fighting Byakuren is utterly pointless, and that we'll understand why eventually. Oh boy. She also gives us an artifact, a UFO toy. Day 4's new enemy is really cute, the zombie cloud. It stays up in the sky, like a cloud, releasing rain that can speed up zombies that walk in it. You do need the firework dispenser in order to kill it. The UFOs can also be killed by these firework dispensers. I unlocked the repeat tensor. You won't believe it, but it's a repeater of the game. I wonder why it took so long to get the repeater of this game. We learn more about the red dragon in that it actually assists the giant when wreaking havoc among towns. It was supposedly slayed, but Steve believes there is something more to it. I would not be surprised if that's the case. Day 5 bring back the Dullahan again, which is great. It's one of my favorite Minecraft vs Zombies 2 enemies. I lost again though because of the gunpowder barrels. We unlock one of the more longer name contraptions, the High Frequency Post Dispenser. It's such a long name that Crazy Dave decided to say it several times. It can fire 4 arrows at once. It's like the Gallantly P, meant to be an upgrade to the repeat tensor. Sho explains that the reason why they can't find Byakuren is because when the red dragon came back to wreck the temple, afterwards she immediately left. The only thing she said was, "I am going to resolve this karma." What could this possibly mean? We need to defeat a swarm of UFOs. Hell yeah. It involves us using punch stuns and stone shields to protect them, as well as TNT for heavy groups. I enjoy this little quote-unquote commercial break like I did with the others. It's a nice change of pace personally. We then unlock an official minecart block, the beacon. But supposedly, it's not actually a real beacon. It's a glowing shuriken dispenser. Shurikens are traditional Japanese weapons that were used from the Sengoku period to the Edo period. These beacons can shoot these shurikens in 5 different directions. It's a multi-lane attacker. It's naturally useful for a chapter like this. There is one place we haven't searched to find Byakuren, the Yokai Mountain. The Yokai Mountain is Gensokyo's largest mountain and volcano. It's inhabited mostly by yokai. Humans are generally not welcome in this area. We go back to the shop in Korendo and we meet Marissa, a human magician who specializes in light and heat magic. She doesn't really say much though. The plot continues to ticken. Renosuke, the former shopkeeper for Korendo, knew he was going to disappear 3 years ago, but hasn't said anything. Why? On day 7, we're introduced to the Cannoneer zombie. It has a cannon. I at first thought he was sending quick missiles that I would have to avoid with a defense contraption or something. So imagine my reaction when I see it in the middle of the sky. Thankfully though, it just sends in slower missiles that you have to destroy with projectiles. I think that's more intriguing than a zombie that just kamikazes you as soon as it appears on screen. I did lose a lot of plants because I forgot about the gunpowder again, but thankfully, it was near the final wave, so I just used the beacon's star shard power where it sends in missiles from the sky. Yeah, we get an original contraption once I beat the level, the wooden fan, the blower of the game that can blow zombies from the sky. So, if they're tiny or not as heavy, they can also be pushed back. So it's more than just a contraption to knock back others on the sky. We finally find Hijiri and she's taking down the red dragon. It isn't actually taken down though. It wakes up and immediately breathes fire towards Hijiri's direction, flies up, and knocks us out of the ship. We then wake up in a dark, empty room. Well, it's not as empty as we think. Someone greets us, none other than Saija Kijin from chapter 3 making a comeback. She takes her star shards and wants to use them to help Shinyu Maru, who's still going through it after the incident with the Wither. I wonder why she needs them in the first place. Turns out, we fell through the human village, stumbling across Seki Benki, a Rokurokubi. They look exactly like humans but can stretch their necks. Odd. She was questioning us for coming out whatever room we were in. I wonder what room that was. Once Crazy Dave and Sho find us again, we finally meet Byakuren. We'll probably talk to her more after this day. The 8th day was pretty long. But like I've said before, I love how long these levels are. I genuinely lock in when playing these longer days. We then unlock the Elastic Cloud, a defense contraption, that instead of tanking hits, it can push zombies away. It makes it a pretty useful contraption. It will break over time, but even plans like the Charred Guard has its limits. We can finally talk to Hijiri, and she explains what really went down with the Red Dragon. Turns out the Red Dragon spoke to her that day she had to exterminate it, and it makes a pretty good point. It didn't really do anything. All it was doing was flying around the sky. The giant was the one wreaking havoc. Byakuren really had no choice though, so she fought the dragon, killing it. Couldn't she just tell the townsmen that the dragon wasn't malicious rather than murdering it? I guess they wouldn't really believe her. The dragon that we saw that pushes off the ship is that former dragon's son. Honestly, reasonable crash out. On the 9th day, we meet the Pop Captain. It's funny that you see a trend. There's 2 pirate zombies, but then they hit us with UFOs and a flying cloud. The game continues to be so random and I love that. The Pop Captain is a heavy hitter, able to instantly destroy plants with its weapon. It's a pretty intimidating zombie and it really reminds me, there's not really a Gargantuar-like enemy in this game, which is pretty surprising. I'm not complaining though, the enemies are one of my favorite parts of the game anyway. They're all creative in their own ways, design and mechanic wise. We unlocked the Jewel Pagoda. It's not a micro contraption, but I can't complain. We already had a lot of those. This is based from the Touhou game. It's an artifact owned by Sho. In the game, it's not really a good contraption in my opinion. When you place it down, it will disable an entire lane for star shards. I don't think that's really worth it. At least for this chapter, it's pretty useful because 2 lanes aren't functional, but still, overall, eh. We finally converse with Hijiri about news straight up telling us to give up. and how she's the yokai of cognition. This means that Nu can affect the appearance of other objects, as well as people's cognition in other worlds as well. We finally reached the level before the big boss. It was another fun challenge. My talisman artifact hypnotized a pop captain, and it was a brute in the lawn. That and the beacon star shard power continues to be insane. One of my favorite star shard powers so far. I also finally noticed that when the elastic cloud is losing durability, it has a sad face. That's so depressing. The zombies then give us a really badly drawn map. Who knew they had the paint software in their disposal? The red dragon was one of my favorite bosses yet. It's a super interactive boss. In fact, I actually think it's my number 1 out of all the bosses. The red dragon is not as challenging as the wither, but it's still stress-inducing. To be honest, bosses should feel stress-inducing. They're the big bad. Of course they have to be. After 2 conveyor belt waves, the red dragon flies down with an intense roar. The red dragon has 4 gimmicks, which is what puts his boss on top. First one, it can send out a wind tornado that can sweep away contraptions and even monsters too. You can use the wooden fan to knock this wind back. The wooden fan is very essential for this boss. Second, it can breathe out a breath of fire that can burn mostly all your contraptions on the lawn, and if you don't extinguish these flames in time, you can lose them. In order to kill the fire, you have to click on it. I concentrated on the flames that are on my contraption first before the rest of my lawn, as you can lose contraptions fairly fast in this boss. Third, the most interesting mechanic is its large ball of fire, which will slowly move towards your lawn, killing whatever contraption is in front of it. This is where the wooden fan comes into play again. When you activate it, it can blow the ball forward and explode towards the dragon, dealing damage. And lastly, it can spew out 3 fireballs that can be deflected by the elastic clouds. And I like that the boss not only forces you to interact with the lawn and not mainly just place contraptions down, but also how it incorporates mostly all contraptions you unlock in this chapter, giving them quite the use, especially the fan and the elastic clouds. Once we defeat the boss, the dragon falls down and brings the end ship down with it. Honestly, the red dragon in my opinion wasn't really in the wrong in this situation. All they were doing was avenging their mother. Poor dragon. I really hope it's not dead. It is. It's dead. At least it's resting peacefully in the afterlife with its mom. Byakuren gives us an artifact, a replica of her sorcerer's social scroll. In terms of where Steve comes from though, Byakuren gives us a story of how 4 years ago, a visitor came to the Mayoran temple named Toran Sakura. This is a completely original character, not from the Touhou project. She came to find her lost child, but since she failed to find this child, she never came back. And that's the end of the 5th chapter. This fan game series is just phenomenal, honestly. Right now, this has to be one of my favorite PVZ fan games, if not my number 1. No other one has as much content and creativity as this one has. It has a completely dedicated storyline, long and challenging gameplay, fun bosses, contraptions, enemies, and so much more. I cannot wait for the 6th chapter. I'll be playing it the first day it comes out. That's about it, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.